4 more years for Fallon. From the Oklahoman's video studios, I'm Dave Morris. Governor Mary Fallon has been elected to her second term, defeating Democratic challenger State Representative Joe Dorman. Other notables to win in Tuesday's midterm elections in Oklahoma include James Lankford, Jim Inhofe, and Tom Cole. Nick Trougakos from the Oklahoman's newsroom joins me now. And Nick, Governor Fallon wound up winning easily tonight.
Yeah, that was a race that there were some rumors and rumblings that perhaps Joe Dorman had garnered some grassroots support, maybe would pull a little bit of an urban Democratic vote and really play on those high voter areas, Oklahoma County and Tulsa County. In the end, it just didn't really materialize, though. Governor Fallon, with a relatively comfortable win, took 55.8% of the vote and says she's humbled and honored, ready to get started on her next 4 years. And Dorman conceding. Looks like for the Democrats, time to go back to the drawing board in that race.
James Lankford won the open U.S. Senate seat. And Lankford, Nick, will have to run again in 2016 for a full 6-year term.
That's right, because he is only coming in on account of Tom Coburn retiring, stepping down from the U.S. Senate. That, of course, started a whole chain reaction. And at the top of that reaction in Oklahoma politics was Lankford, moving up from the 5th District House seat, claiming the Senate seat. Another easy win for him there, 68% of the vote. And, of course, interesting that the election was called for him a mere 3 minutes after the polls closed. So that was not one that he had to sweat out.
So a little B-roll there. We do have James Lankford's acceptance speech online at newsok.com. And Republican Steve Russell won Lankford's open U.S. House seat, representing Central Oklahoma's 5th Congressional District. And Nick, Russell defeated Democratic State Senator Al McCaffrey. Yeah,
that was a close race, if you want to say close, for how a lot of these congressional races shaped up. Russell with 60.2% of the vote. Of course, he's a former state legislator, former Army veteran. He is really, treaded the line of keeping Washington on its toes, keeping them doing what they're constitutionally obligated to do. Now he gets the chance to go to D.C. and see if he can put some of that into practice while he's there.
Well, guy who's no stranger to D.C. is Senator Jim Inhofe. He turns 80 next month, I believe. He's positioned to become the chairman of the Environment and Public Works Committee. Now, that's if the Republicans take control of the Senate. Another turn for Senator Inhofe.
Another turn, and he'll be one of the longest-serving Oklahoman senators, one of the oldest senators at the Capitol. Really pretty remarkable run by Inhofe, 68% of the vote in the election here in Oklahoma, and he's ready for 6 more years, and he'll show Lankford the ropes there in the U.S. Senate.
Absolutely. Republican Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb, he's won his second 4-year term as the state's second in charge, and Lamb tonight defeated Democrat Kathy Cummings.
Yeah, this was a quiet race. There wasn't a lot of advertising coming out of the Cummings campaign. Lamb turned on the television dollars at the end just a little bit, but not one that was in doubt. Really, nearly 78% or 70% of the vote, I should say, for Todd Lamb. He'll stick with his partner Mary Fallon at the state capitol here for another 4 years.
You mentioned a quiet race there, but state school superintendent was not a quiet race. Julie Hoffmeister becomes only the second Republican to be elected as Oklahoma's top schools chief. And Nick, tonight she defeated John Cox.
Yeah, and that's one that, behind the governor's race, this was probably the most contentious race in the state. Television ads flying both ways, some pretty hefty accusations thrown both ways. As it turns out, though, Hoffmeister got a fairly sound victory. Cox conceded shortly before 9 p.m. in that race. Hoffmeister coming in with about 56% of the vote. She, of course, is the one who unseated the incumbent, State Superintendent Janet Barisi, back in the June primary. Now, she'll have her turn in the hot seat. As we know, that's one of the more controversial state leadership positions, that state superintendent post.
In fact, the governor's race, that was one of the points of contention between Dorman and Fallon, was education.
And it was a move that, if we can circle back around to the governor's race, that Dorman had tried to link Barisi, who had become quite unpopular by the end of her term, with Governor Fallon. Obviously not a move that worked out for Dorman in the long run. And being a Republican, like Barisi is, was not a big hindrance to Hoffmeister's run for the seat tonight.
Nick Trougakos, fantastic analysis and updates throughout the Tuesday night midterm elections. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Sure.
Appreciate it. The Oklahoma's newsroom has been working hard compiling complete election coverage, not just from the bigger races, but the smaller races as well. Be sure to go to your driveways and newsstands for the latest copy of the Oklahoman, and you can find photos and videos from all the candidates' acceptance and concession speeches. Actually, I should say from some of the candidates' acceptance and concession speeches, including Governor Fallon, looking ahead to 4 more years online at newsok.com. Big thanks to NewsOK's Tiffany Gibson and Matt Carney for helping us out online during our election coverage. Thanks again to the Oklahoma's Nick Trougakos and Chris Castile for their analysis, and thanks to Paige Dillard and Todd Frazier in the Oklahoman's Video Studios control room. For the Oklahomans and NewsOK's Election 2014 coverage, I'm Dave Morris.